Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Eva, and in this video I talk about difficult life situations that people have to deal with, because I think it's for me just so healing to talk about those things. So the first one that is just super hard for humans in general, of course always exceptions, but in general it's just loss of connection. So if, for example, you have someone who dies that you really loved, or you have to cut contact with a person even though you love them, or you have a divorce or a breakup, it can get super hard, especially if for some people they experience when it was sudden, unexpected. It's just so hard, and I think that it can definitely, the foundation that you stand on, it can completely crumble, and then it can be so hard to deal with life because you're just thrown out of life, and then you slowly have to go back into life, and it can be just so weird and so hard. What I would recommend, or just what helped me in my own situation, was to seek professional help, and to seek help from loved ones, seek help from people that can help you, and also allow yourself to take some time to grieve and to process, because it's a lot to process, and it's human beings are not machines, so we need some time to recalibrate, to understand what is happening. We need to go through the different stages of grief also. So yeah, but it's a really tough thing that happened to people, and it can, for sure just change a lot of things, and it can really throw us into a crisis because we are so shocked now of what is happening. Another one, or another situation that can be hard for humans, is just a midlife crisis or a quarter life crisis. So a quarter life crisis can happen when you, for example, you go to school, and then after school you go to university, and then you start a job, and you feel like that this job is not right for you, and then you have this immense confusion of what it is that you want to do in life, who are you, and you have on the one side all of those expectations from family, friends, society, and on the other side you don't even know who you are really. So not for everyone, but for some people it can cause a quarter life crisis of just being completely lost in what it is that they want to do, how they want to build their life, and it can be a very confusing time. And also later the midlife crisis can happen when, or it usually happens for some people between 40 and 50, for example, when they have already worked some decades, and they at one point, and maybe have already married, have children, and at one point they just wake up and think, is this life that I'm living actually right for me? So is this actually what I'm meant to do, or should I have done other choices? And it can really put people in a certain crisis situation because they feel really lost. Maybe they need to have a job transition, and it can feel quite scary and weird, and just can feel very scary, and it's a really hard thing to go through for some people, or a lot of people. And that's why it's so important to see professional help who can help you in that life situation. Seek help from friends and family who can support you, and who can help you. So I think another one situation that is really hard, I think, is healing from trauma, and kind of stepping out of the denial and really facing your traumas. And depending on what traumas you have experienced, this can be super hard, and can also feel like the foundation that you're standing on is crumbling, and you feel like you're falling. And it can also really throw you out of life in a way, and so you have to just try to manage, and that can be also a very hard situation to deal with. And that's why professional help is so important to guide us when we are in this chaos and in the storm, and we don't even know what is right and wrong anymore, and we're just thrown around. That's why it's so important to have professional people who can help you. Another one is just changing friendships. If you, for example, feel like, because growth is the only constant, so if you feel like, okay, the people or maybe a good friend that I spend a lot of time with, we're developing into different directions, that can also be painful. Again, that kind of loss of connection can be quite painful. Another one is just failure. If we, for example, have made a huge mistake, or if we had a certain dream and we give our best and that dream just doesn't work out, and we have to accept to ourselves, okay, either we made a huge mistake or it didn't work out in that way. And of course, it's cool to see things positive, but in the first stages, it can be very detrimental to the mental health if we have those types of situation happen to us. Another one is when, for example, you lose a job. And that always depends too. If you, for example, have saved a lot of money beforehand, then maybe it will not be that difficult. But if you, for example, you were in a position that you couldn't save so much money, so you don't have much money and then you lose a job, it can really throw you into a crisis situation when you don't really know what is happening next and what job can you do. And also a workplace is usually also where you have friendships, you build friendships, and then to lose also a job unexpectedly can be really a hard, tough situation, because you also lose that connection to your coworkers and people that you like. And it can again throw you out of that structured life into a more chaotic environment of the job search again, and throw you back into that uncertainty, which can be quite hard to handle. Another one is another difficult life situation to deal with is getting older, because you feel like, okay, I'm confronted with the how do you say in English, you're confronted with death eventually, that everyone has to end his life at one point, like has to die. I don't know how to say, but we're just confronted that we're not going to stay on this life forever. So that can be really hard to deal with. Also to realize, okay, many things that I did when I was younger, I cannot do them anymore. And that can also, not for everyone, but for some people, can really cause a crisis situation. Another one that's also similar to that is if you're getting injured or if you're getting sick, because it's again a loss of a lot of things that you maybe loved, that you enjoyed doing, and then if you get injured or sick, you can't do them anymore. So it can also be a very, very tough situation, and that's why it's so important to have connection with people who can support you and to seek professional help. Another really tough situation would be if you lose your things in a natural disaster, or maybe there's a fire and your house gets burned down, things like that, where you just lose all the things that you have worked for, and that can be super, super hard. And another one is if, for example, you have a loved one who gets ill or who has a sickness or an illness, that can also be really hard to manage, because you realize, okay, nothing is in my power and I can do nothing. And so I think all of those situations are so tough, and it's what happens to a lot of people, at least one of those situations. And and it's a really weird feeling if such a situation happens to you, because you feel like, okay, the ground that I'm standing on, it's crumbling, and it just feels so weird to be in that phase of being thrown around and not really know what's next, what is not next. And it's a really weird situation, but I feel at least for me, seeking professional help, people who can help me, and talking about it is really helpful in dealing with those situations and slowly coming back into life again. So what about you? Did you have any hard experiences in your life, or you think that was a really tough life situation for me? What were your tools? How did you overcome them? Or was there a situation that you didn't overcome? Because I think there's no solution for everything. Some chapters are just dark and without a happy ending. We have to accept that. So yeah, write it down in the comment section. And like the video if you like it. If not, not. And subscribe to my channel and see my next video.